Big D Entertainment, in association with Dipsy Doodle Productions, presents The Dave Holly Hour, brought to you by TJS Ceramic Studio, Serendipity Studio Gallery and Gifts, Chasers Food and Spirits, Excel Chiropractic, Quality Nails, Jesse Moffitt Entertainment, and the Sioux Falls Arts Council. The Dave Holly Hour features Sioux Empire arts and entertainment conversations. A true lover of arts, entertainment, good food, and fun times, including an occasional Jack Daniels. Okay, so a few Jack Daniels. Here he is, Dave Holly.
First-timers, long-timers, great to have you along for the fun. And boy, howdy do we have a great time talking theater and music this week. So much so that we go way past an hour. Hey, later, a very fun conversation with singer-songwriter Matt D. Oh my goodness, do we go off the tracks many times. In just a few minutes, however, actors Jessica Ashton and Mike Richards from Olde Towne Dinner Theatre tell us about Little Shop of Horrors. That's coming up May 3rd. But first, let's pop the cork on this bubbly little show.
Time to grab your favorite beverage, lift it high, and toast it to being Thursday, a.k.a. Weekend Eve.
Hey, the weekend isn't around the corner, it's here!
So long, hump day and your frumpy way. We say hello to Thursdays with opening nights. The weekend is near and we can see the bright lights. Yes, Thursday, you're so hearty, we can't wait for Friday, so a day early, we start the party.
Whatever you're drinking and whatever you're drinking it out of might very well be determined by where and when you're listening. My choice, a Jasper Newton. Jack Daniels, Diet Coke with a lime. For you, whether it's a cup of coffee, a spot of tea, glass of milk, bottle of water, mug of beer, a cocktail, glass of wine, or flute of champagne, lift it high and toast it to all the spring and summer shows taking place in performing arts as well as visual arts. We are not very far from the return of live music outdoors. As the weather heats up, so does the schedule. Cheers to an abundance of art. Speaking of cheers, which just happens to rhyme with beers, say cheers with a beer or your favorite cocktail at Chasers, West 12th Street and Ellis Road. Make sure you grab some food while you're at it. Join me on Monday nights for Dave Holly Hour Trivia starting at 7 this coming Monday. It'll be wild card. More than just the 3 prizes typical. Up for grabs, a chance for everybody to win. Honorable mention. What over the past week made Dave laugh, guffaw, chuckle, chortle, giggle, smile, or maybe even shed a tear of joy? The University of Sioux Falls production of Big Fish was outstanding. It's been a very long time since I heard an audience applaud at the end of the first act. Even greater standing ovation at the end. Well done, USF. Later we talk with singer-songwriter Matt D. as we chat about his music as well as an array of other topics. Just a few minutes, we learn from Olde Towne Dinner Theatre with actors Jessica Ashton and Mike Richards on the Dave Holly Hour. Take in the great works at Serendipity Studio and Gift Gallery in the Shriver Building. So many great works for regional artists. They offer so many ways for everyone to participate or interact with the studio as well as the artists. Now check your calendar and make your plans to participate at Serendipity Studio. Visit their website, www.serendipitystudiosd.com. Again, www.serendipitystudiosd.com. The SD for South Dakota, obviously. And you'll get more information. You can also register for any of the activities. Serendipity Studio located downtown Sioux Falls in the historic Shriver Building, 230 South Phillips Avenue on the 2nd floor.
Are you an artist? Need some funding to further your art? There's a great opportunity for you through a Sioux Falls Arts Council program. The Artist Microgrant program gives away several microgrants to local artists, no matter what art discipline you're in. Unlike more traditional grants, a microgrant is very easy to apply for. Go to artssiouxfalls.org. If you haven't done so yet, create a listing on the Artist Directory, which is beneficial in its own way. Then go to the Artist Microgrants page and apply online. The process is simple. Find out more about the Sioux Falls Arts Council as well online at artssiouxfalls.org.
Check out the new ceramic studio in Sioux Falls, conveniently located off Kiwanis Avenue on 5th Street. TJS Ceramics inside Oscar's Mini Storage. We have thousands of classic vintage ceramic mold items and several new items too. TJS Ceramics offers classes, special open studio nights, and completed ready-to-purchase items. Bisque studio time or painting parties are available. Visit TJS Ceramics Studio in person today or email tjsceramics@gmail.com for more details.
Thanks for listening, and thanks for your social media interaction. Your reward, more Dave Holly.
Welcome back, everybody. As always, a pleasure to talk Sioux Empire Arts and Entertainment. And as always, great to welcome back a guest. Mike Richards is joining us today. Hello, Mike. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. How about you?
You typically are. I'm doing well also. Thank you. But a first-time guest as well. Jessica Ashton, how are you?
I'm great. Thanks for asking.
Yes, and great to have you both here to talk about Olde Towne Dinner Theatre and Little Shop of Horrors. All right, Mike, I know that when that was announced last year, you were already on that. Like, oh, I've got to be in this.
Yes, absolutely. This has been a passion project, much to the chagrin of many of my friends. I've beaten this horse to death, and finally the dream's coming true. So
yeah, and you will be playing
Seymour.
Yes, is that the part that you've been dreaming of?
Absolutely. Yes.
Aha.
Yes.
Well, you've got a great counterpart over here then.
Absolutely.
Yes, as Audrey. And what about you, Jessica? What drew you to be in Little Shop of Horrors?
You know, this is just like a cult classic. Is that what they call it?
Mm-hmm.
But in general, I'm drawn to fun. This isn't so happy, I guess, but, you know, just like fun projects. I have counterparts in the theater realm that like the more serious roles, but I think life is too serious the way that it is. So when I get an opportunity to do something fun like this, I'm going to jump on it. All
right. And we're opening what, next weekend?
May. No, let me get
that's right.
May 3rd, yes.
May. Yeah. And then it goes into June.
Yes, all the way through June 2nd.
Incredible. That's the thing about Olde Towne is you've got, first of all, it happens to be one of the greatest places to eat. The dinners there are amazing, but you get this incredible show too. Mm-hmm. And then if you didn't hit it one weekend, you have a good chance of getting it another. But what's it like as an actor to be involved in a community theater, but it's run very professionally, first of all. Mm-hmm. But then second, you know, you've got runs that are sometimes 4 or 5 weekends.
Yeah, it's an interesting spin on it. I know I've been involved in some shows that have some long runs, but this is a consistently long run, as you mentioned, so 5 weeks. But what's interesting about it is that you'll start the show one way and there'll be some nuances and things that creep their way in. As the audience might laugh at something, you might play that part up a little bit. The Casey Kustaks of the world would love this. Love an opportunity like this. But yeah, it's fantastic. You'd think you might get a little tired of it, but I think it's just the opposite of that. You find ways to make it more fun as the run goes along.
Yeah, but you know, how many weeks of rehearsal do you have before the show even opens?
It depends on the show. This one had roughly about 6 weeks.
Okay, so you've got 6 and then another 5 weekends and so forth. It's a long time for commitment. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yes. And then you both going to take a break after that, or are you already involved in other things?
I'm not involved in another show, but I literally get on a plane 2 days later for about a week and a half vacation in Europe.
Good for you.
So yeah.
Where are you going in Europe?
We're going on a Mediterranean cruise with our family.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Lucky. Yeah. On your Facebook, it's always, pictures of family events and so forth. I think that's fantastic. Yeah. So what drew you to theater to begin with, Jessica? You know, we've had Mike on the show before, but in terms of your background for getting involved, how did it start?
Yeah, so I grew up in a town called Freeman, South Dakota, and every year we have a big German celebration. Yeah. And with that is an amateur stage production, which is typically a musical. So I grew up watching musicals forever, and then I finally got the opportunity to perform in them and, of course, fell in love with them. So I was kind of like the running mainstay lead female for like 10 years running. And I got to they do a lot of the traditional shows, so a lot of the Roger and Hammerstein, and lots of great opportunities. And it just fueled my love for musical theater even more. So getting to do that as a hobby when you're a lot older is just a privilege that I appreciate.
Yeah, and appreciate having you on the show for the first time because we've been going to Old Town for a long time and seeing you often. And I think every time we come through the line afterward, it's like, hey, I got to get you on the show sometime. And then finally we get this opportunity, but we had kind of to sneak it in because you've got rehearsals later today.
Yes.
Yeah. And rehearsals going well?
Very, very well. I was blown away. Normally when you have, we have had our off-book days recently, and normally you'll have some rustiness, people calling for lines, but we didn't really have a lot of that with this show. People are on the ball. I'm very impressed.
Okay. So Jessica, as Audrey, how do you make it your role instead of everybody we've seen before, or, people that have been in the movies, Broadway and so forth?
I that's with every character, just trying to develop what this is for you. So, I don't know. And this is a big contrast to the roles that I typically play. I'm typically like the stern, uptight, she has a lot of borders and barriers that you can't break through, but this is just like a fun, it's a stark difference, I guess, from like my last role in Fox and the Fairway, tight knit type thing, and then here you come to just kind of a vulnerable, insecure, bubbly, still optimistic type role. So it's just always fun and a challenge to do those new things. But
what is Jessica Ashton like, though? What kind of character are you when it comes to real life?
I don't even know. Really. And a lot of people don't know me that way because I am very introverted. And I think I've seen a lot of theater people who are introverted, and then theater is their opportunity to be somebody else. So that's why I like theater, is that I am very quiet. I typically don't talk to people unless they talk to me, because I'm like, who wants to know about Jessica, So I'll, of course, talk to them if they talk to me. But, even in my job, I play a role, and I think that's kind of like I play a role as a mother. I play a role as a friend in this group and here. So it's, I really don't know. That's kind of scary to say. I kind of just like adapt to different situations like that. So,
what made you get involved with Old Town?
I have been volunteering at Old Town for decades. And when we moved back to Sioux Falls, I knew that theater was a hobby. You kind of always want that outlet so that your family isn't dependent on your happiness, your spouse isn't dependent on your happiness. You have something for yourself. So I always knew that theater was that for me. Old Town is a great opportunity because, they're just so accommodating too. I mean, they understand that this is a volunteer role and that they're not going to monopolize your time. You have a life outside of here. So I really appreciate that about Old Town. But that's kind of their thing, is just the fun shows, like the farces, and that's my thing too. So that's why I really am drawn to Old Town.
Mike, what is it about Old Town that keeps drawing you back? Because you're one of the veterans there as well.
Yeah, and they even wrote me into being on the board. I think it's much the same thing. I think piggybacking on that, I think it's the friendships that I've formed there, the very tight-knit group where we all have each other's back. We got an old building that we're trying to keep going along, so you have a lot of friends and I guess I'm going to call them family now that are all dedicated to keeping this little organization running as smoothly as it can.
Well, what I love about it is, every time I talk to people that are in a play or a musical, we end up at some point saying the word family, the theater family. And then, of course, that theater family continues to grow. So, where do you sit there and go, okay, it's my theater family, but by God, I spend so much time with them. They're just like family, not just a category of family anymore.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I consider a lot of my castmates, my family and brothers, sisters, what have you. I mean, there's no distinction anymore for me between the two. I mean, you will have shows, and when I did my first show, actually my first show back was Little Shop of Horrors for Sect way back in the day. The most difficult part of that was the end of it, because at the time, most of the people that I'd formed this bond with kind of went our separate ways. That has been different with Olde Towne and some other theater organizations as well. I've found those more tight-knit bonds, and we do hang out outside of theater. So I really do enjoy this family.
Yeah. Jessica, in terms of getting on stage, is there anything that you do beforehand? You know, obviously as a cast, you're going to have some warm-ups and so forth, but any rituals that you have for, take deep breaths, or you listen to a certain song?
Not really.
Not really.
Not really. I'm kind of a prankster, actually. So we played a really good prank on Andy Thornfox in the Fairway, and he came to give places, and I'm like, let's all hide so he can't find us. So it was like, that's just, I jump out and scare people. Like, that's my thing. I don't know. It's weird.
There's such a charm to Olde Towne. When you find somebody and they say, "Oh, I understand you're in a play," and you tell them it's at Olde Towne and they've never been there, what do you sell it as?
I sell it as an experience. I think you go there initially for the food, but you stay there for a fantastic show. I mean, you get both. You look at the amount of value you get for your ticket, and at Olde Towne, I think, is probably one of the best deals in town right now.
Very true. People go, well, this a little stiff on the. I said, you're getting a great meal, and you're right in terms of a value for a show, because we've never walked away disappointed at anything there, and like you were saying, Jessica, farces, etc., seem to be, and we'll throw in a little dinner theater pun here, the bread and butter of Olde Towne.
But I'm dumb.
Yeah. And so you've got that. And what is it that you sell then, besides what Mike just said?
Well, when I mention Olde Towne, and I'll say in Worthing, South Dakota, I'm like, it's Worthing, South Dakota, not Worthington, Minnesota.
Right. Yes.
And I'm like, it's not that far away. You can totally do this.
Yeah.
And so I'm trying to map it out for them, because it still, I mean, I am just so familiar with it. I assume that everybody else has heard of it or knows, and they just don't. So I'm like, you are going to get an awesome experience. So I highly recommend that you check out a show there. So
who's directing this one? Is it John?
It is John.
It is John. Okay. So John J. Bowe.
Yes.
A person that has been on this show several times himself. I always hear great things about him from actors. What do you appreciate about him?
I appreciate his commitment to his vision. He has a very clear vision on what he wants, and I think he communicates that very well to his cast. And well, I mean, you take in the fact that he does pretty much everything for the show as well.
True.
Builds the sets, helps at least costume design, with the lighting design, sound design, all of that. That's all John.
Yeah, and he's also a great actor.
Yeah.
But how about for you, Jessica? Not just the appreciation part, but things that you pick up from him.
He's just so easy to work with. He lets you take it and run with it, and he's like, "I'll pull you back, just go and do your thing." Yeah. So he gives you those liberties that is awesome, and he's just a great person all around too. I mean, it's great working with John.
What's it like working with a flower that becomes a monster?
Well, it's kind of a monster right now. It's been an interesting transition to finally get the plants on stage and working with them. So we're just trying to finesse those aspects. But it's, I mean, I have to plug Devin here. He is a fantastic Audrey too, and his voice is just amazing. So
yeah, he is a good dude too, and such a fun person. In fact, saw him along with Mike Richards over at a wonderful little musical in Mitchell. Yeah. How fun was that? That
was fun. That was an unexpected surprise. Yeah. Well, I guess every surprise is unexpected, but that one was something that Devin had talked to me many months earlier. I didn't think I was going to have an opportunity, because this one had always been on, or Little Shop had always been on my radar. But when I saw that I might be able to squeeze that one in, it was fantastic and a great experience. Drive to Mitchell was a little difficult, right. but yes, it was well worth it.
Considering that we've got 80 miles per hour on the interstate now, that's still the longest 70 miles.
It is.
It's just like, not there yet? Come on.
Yeah.
Jessica, when it comes to big roles and dream roles, what's yours?
I don't know if I really have a dream role. I'm thinking about it. Phantom is always a top show for me. So I guess Christine, those notes are kind of high though. But one of my favorite musicals is Seven Brides for Seven Brothers, and I guess to hold like a leading role in that, or like a Dolly Levi and Hello Dolly, something like that would be a lot of fun.
Oh yeah, Hello Dolly, I can see it.
Yeah.
You tend to play. When you've done the things that I've seen you in, you were talking about, the type of character it is and so forth. But you also have this ability to walk on stage and all of a sudden people kind of go, oh, my, what do you attribute that to?
My hair? I don't know.
I didn't know how we could slide into talking about your hair. I didn't want to come out and say, so what's the bouffant doing today?
People just recognize me, and I'm just that person that people tend to like. I don't know. I'm just used to it now, I guess.
I suppose,
yeah.
Is that the descriptor? Oh,
the girl with the hair.
She's the girl with the big hair.
Pretty much. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. But fantastic personality and fantastic skills on stage, too.
Thank you.
What do you attribute those to? I mean, was there a particular person in your life that helped you develop to be such a great actor? Obviously, the music was pretty easy, came along early and so forth, but the acting part, when did that kick in?
I don't know if I really had like a mentor or anything like that. It's just the influences from, watching different shows, and I'm watching movies, watching other people do it. That's kind of, like I said, I'm very adaptive, and I may mimic a lot of things that other people do. And I'm just going to, that's a compliment to them because I took that away. So,
yeah. Mike, in terms of the time that you have spent on stage, and working with so many different people, where was it that you said, you know what, I got to keep doing this because my family's growing, as you talked about, but also the fact that, there's got to be an inner energy to be rehearsing for 6 weeks, on stage for 5. What keeps that thing ticking?
Well, I think when I was done with college, I came to Sioux Falls and I did one more show. But then it kind of lost that luster for it for a while. But I said if there was one show that would bring me back, it was Little Shop. And of course, Sect did that. But once I did that, the bug was there again, and it just hasn't left. I think it's an innate energy. I think I get a lot of my thrill performing. I think it allows me to express a lot of what I can't express in my real life sometimes out on the stage, and I think that gives me that oomph to keep doing it and working through the long rehearsal periods and such.
So we talked about working with John, but Jessica, what's it like to work with Mike? What types of things do you pick up from him?
Mike's just a great person overall. So getting the opportunity to work with him again, I think the last time was Boeing, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's just a privilege. So I don't. Yeah.
Okay. And vice versa then, Mike. What do you pick up from Audrey? See, I'm already calling you by character name. What do you pick up from Jessica?
I think she brings a lot of energy to the role. I think instantly I was like, oh yeah, she's got the character down right away. I think she puts in a lot of effort before she ever even walks into a first rehearsal, and I think that is just her professionalism, her energy, her talent.
All right. And what do you use as a tool to help you memorize lines? What's your process for that?
I have walk on the treadmill and I just go over them over and over and over again. I would like to say that my kids help me with lines, but they can't read fast enough, so that doesn't work. So I do study the role a lot. Heading into an audition, I know what I want. I know I'm going to execute this. But that's kind of, like the method there.
Yeah. In terms of other places that you've acted, because I know that you, Mike, have been involved in, is there a theater you've not performed at around the area? I
have not had the pleasure of working with Goodnight yet.
Okay.
Working on that, or Monstrous. But I think I've had been performing on the stages that they've performed on before. So at least I've worked with Mighty Corson Art Players. Enjoy that group very much. The Premier Playhouse, formerly Sect, and I performed with them, and mainly the big trio.
Yeah, and Jessica mentioned the word adapt.
Yes.
So when you're going from different theaters, there's a lot of adaptation for you, isn't there? Or anybody that's done that in this area, because you've got, a good-sized stage at the Orpheum, occasionally over at the Belbus, and then you've got, the smaller theaters, and the stages are different, and the green rooms and dressing rooms are all different. What's it take to keep yourself calm when you start a new production, that it's just like, for you, obviously, you've been there enough each place that is old hat. But if you were to walk into a new theater, what do you think would be the most difficult part to adapt to?
I think it depends on if you're going in fresh or if you're going in with experience from another theater. I think if you're going in fresh, it's just getting to know the people, getting to the point where you can trust them. And that really ends up being the end goal for everything, is realizing they got this. You need to follow along with them. They've done this before. They have the experience. Watch what they do, learn what they do as well. But I think if you go in with the notion of what you've done with a different theater, you're going to have some adaptation there, because the different theater groups do things differently. Yeah. There's different styles, and I think they all have their pluses and minuses depending on what your personality is. But
and then the other thing I keep in mind is that I'll just pass it along as something personal. I was in that improv group for many years, and there was somebody that came in, and then every time that when we were practicing, she would bring up, what we did over in Prague. And it's like, and then we had another guy that, he acted in Hollywood and so forth. And it's just like, what? Prove what you do instead of saying where you've been. Right. And I think that's always something you need to be careful about, because, obviously John Bowe directs something differently than Luke Tacci would.
Sure.
And everybody else that's involved, or Robin Byrne, or Jesse Jensen, and think of all those people, and each personality does kind of come through in their productions. So, you have to be careful in that regard, don't you?
Yeah, you have to have adaptability. It's just part and parcel what it is. You have to be comfortable in yourself and just focus on what you can bring to the role, and let them guide you in that process.
Jessica, if you were auditioning for somebody you've never auditioned for before, what do you tell them you bring to a role?
I don't know if I tell them anything. I'm hoping that comes out in my audition. But all I can bring is my experience that, that I've had follow me, and then show them what I can do in that audition. So,
how many productions have you each been in?
I'm, if you count college and high school and such, I'm in the 40s right now.
Wow.
I'm probably approaching 20, so not as many.
Are you counting Freeman?
Yeah.
Oh, really?
That was only one show a year, so for like a decade, it was only like 10 there.
Right.
And then, I had to take a break, when I had kids.
Having a family.
And so now they're old enough that I can leave a little bit more.
Yeah. What do you tell somebody that might be thinking of becoming an actor?
I'd say do it. This is a great experience, and especially if they're looking for that outlet to just be something that, if they're looking for that outlet to just explore. As was mentioned, the theater community is fantastic in Sioux Falls, and there's so many. There's like this third degree of separation sort of thing. It's like, well, I know you through that, and you've worked with that person. So getting to know, there's like an endless supply of theater people, it seems like, in Sioux Falls, and more continue to move here. So I'd say get involved, and you're going to find the best group of friends ever.
Yeah, and some great theater that takes place in terms of the productions, the production ability now. So many great things. And I had Matt Cook on here last week, And I've had Randy Root on before too, and talking about, how lighting has advanced in so many ways, and things along that line, and the number of cues you can now have. And so it's fantastic to see. It's fantastic to be a part of, whether you're on stage, backstage, or in front watching, because it's all great. And so again, Olde Towne Dinner Theatre in Worthing, South Dakota, not Worthington, Minnesota, has a Little Shop of Horrors coming up the first weekend of May and going through the first weekend of June. Tickets available how?
You can go to otdt.org, or you can call 605-372-4653. I would recommend the website. It's lots speedier and a lot more preferential.
Right. Yeah. It is much faster.
Yes.
Of course, you can always take care of this the easy way, like my love and I do. Buy season tickets.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, and those will be probably available already, aren't they?
They are available, and
for next season.
Yes, and you getting a season pass not only saves you money, but it gives you the opportunity to pick your seats a little sooner if you like. If you find a seat in the house you really like.
A11.
There you go.
All right. So I'll go first with Jessica. This is her first time on the show. You're going to get a different question this time around, Mike. But Jessica, I always like to ask, when you're not part of the arts and entertainment scene, what do you like to be entertained by?
I enjoy theater, I guess, altogether. I looked at my calendar over the last, since April 8th. And since then through June 3rd, I have every evening has been spent out of practice or performing or supporting other theater in the industry, in the area. So I love watching movies, and I like getting my children to develop a love for theater too now, so they accompany me to a lot of shows. Yeah. So that's what I'm entertained by. Yeah.
Any other hobbies?
Any other hobbies? Not really.
No time.
No time. No.
Involved in theater. All right. So, Mike, you've answered the questions about other hobbies, other entertainment that you like, etc. before. So this time around, what's your word for 2024?
Word for 2024. That is an interesting question. I would say, personally, growth. I think this role is what I have always, ever since I've been in theater, been my culmination of where I wanted to be. So now I have to figure out where to go from there. So that, I think that's going to be where that is growing.
Right. Good answer. Good answers. And thank you for all the answers. Appreciate it. Again, Mike Richards, Jessica Ashton, thank you both for being on the show. Appreciate your time.
Appreciate you, Dave.
And we'll be back with more of the Dave Holly Hour in just a moment.
Check out the new ceramic studio in Sioux Falls, conveniently located off Kiwanis Avenue on 5th Street. TJS Ceramics, inside Oscar's Mini Storage. Bisque, studio time, painting parties, and finished items are available. Visit TJS Ceramic Studio in Sioux Falls today.
Comedy magician and hypnotist Jesse Moffat's right. He can't play the piano, but he can sure entertain crowds with his amazing magic and clever quips. His shows always make the participants the stars, especially when they've fallen asleep on stage. They've been hypnotized. Are you the party planner in your group? Then you owe it to your group to make the event magical, even if it puts you to sleep. Here's how.
For booking information, go to Jesse Moffitt Entertainment on Facebook. That's JESSEMOFFITT. Or call 605-929-0964.
The Dave Holly Hour, like eavesdropping on a great conversation between two very interesting people.
Welcome back, everybody. Oh, yes, you know what I love to talk about, the pleasure that it is talking about Sioux Empire, arts and entertainment, and having some of my favorite guests back. In fact, he's one of my best favorites. He even gets the first new piece of merch. Matt D., how are you?
You know what, Dave? I'm going to be honest with you. I've been better, but I'm okay.
Okay.
Does that?
What's making you not?
I can't. I'm not at liberty to speak about it, but it's a difficult situation. But I am doing okay.
Okay. Well,
I'm doing
glad
okay.
That you're okay and can be here.
I kind of feel like that Meatloaf song, like 2 out of 3 ain't bad. Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at right now.
We all hit those.
Yeah,
that is for sure.
Yeah, it's like so I'm in Meatloafville right now. Do you like Meatloaf, Dave?
I do. both the singer,
yes,
and the dish.
I was speaking more the dish.
Well,
no.
You know what we've done lately?
Yeah,
is my love's bosses are big hunters, and we get goose like crazy. We basically do not use hamburger anymore.
It's ground goose.
It's ground goose.
Now, ground goose is delicious.
Yes.
But you got to be careful with goose and how you prepare it. So
True.
if it's ground, it's probably delicious.
Yeah.
It's like ground turkey.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We love it, and you know it's better for you.
It's lean. Yes.
And have you ever had any goose jerky?
I've never had goose jerky, but I have had ostrich jerky.
I have too. It's amazing, isn't it?
The weird thing about ostrich is it's like steak. Only it's like flank steak. Only it's like a red meat, but it's bird.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's different, man.
Oh,
I know. I look at those poor creatures and I think, man, they're almost too ugly to kill. Am I right? Like an ostrich, like a cow.
Right.
Let's take care of it. Put her in. Put her in the stocks. But ostriches, man, I don't know. I kind of feel bad for them.
Well, see, there's a title coming up.
Yeah.
I feel bad for ostriches.
I do feel bad for ostriches. If I wrote like John Prine, I would probably use that. Or, maybe I need to write a song now, Dave, and just make it like a B-side.
It is.
Yeah.
Don't even make it a B-side. Stop apologizing.
I don't know.
Because this is what, I love you to death, man. Yeah. You are such a great guy, such a talented singer-songwriter.
Give it time. Yes.
But the one fault you have, you apologize too much.
I am very self-deprecating. I've been told that.
Yes.
It's a defense mechanism.
Well, see, I do that too.
It's like ostriches sticking your head in the sand. Yeah, do they actually do that, though?
I don't know.
I think they do. I don't know.
But see, that'd be a great thing to find out, and then if they don't, that could be part of the lyrics.
Yeah.
They don't really put their heads in the sand.
I've got verse 2. This is better than camels, because camels spit.
Ooh, yeah, they do.
Not good.
Yeah, not very good at
No.
all. In fact, on my mother one time.
Oh, my. Well, I'm not even going to bring up the rhinoceros story that I have. No, sir. How did we get on zoo animals? It was my big mouth.
We started off with all sorts of stuff going on.
Yeah.
And but the self-deprecating, I do the same thing because I figure if I yell at myself, really just fiercely tell myself what an idiot I was, et cetera, whatever anybody else says won't hurt. Yeah. So that's why I go that way.
I like myself pretty much. There's a couple things I don't like about me. I don't like the fact that my hair's gray anymore. I was really going through.
You have hair.
I do. So I'm not even going there. I'm just saying I don't like it because here's the thing. Okay. Now I know that you are like Santa. Guess what they nicknamed me at my day job?
Really?
Santa.
Because,
and you told me this, they say I remind them of some Santa guy who was like a badass Santa, like he went out and kicked like bad guys' butts. And you told me that I looked like him one time at a gig. Was David Harbour.
That's right.
Okay. And one of my coworkers saw this and he goes, "You know what you look like? You look like Santa." And I'm like, dude, I don't think any guy ever really wants to hear
Stranger Things.
Yeah, so basically now I'm Santa at work.
Okay.
So I'm like,
if you ever need the round,
hold on now.
If you ever need the round glasses, I have them. Yeah, but they are prescription.
I'm not ready for that torch yet, Dave.
No,
but
I didn't
give me
think so.
give me 10 years and another 25 pounds, and I might be there. I don't know.
Hey, there you go.
So,
well, here's the ironic thing about me playing Santa Claus is when I first started it, I weighed over 400 pounds.
Oh, you're kidding me.
No, did not need a belly.
Wow.
But my beard and mustache were very salt and pepper, mostly pepper yet.
Yeah.
Because this was, what was I, in my late 20s?
Oh, wow.
Or something. But I had to wear a wig and a fake beard.
Yeah.
And then nature took over. I don't even bother with a wig, but you know,
Yeah.
the beard is all white.
You're a pretty slim
Yeah.
guy now.
Yeah. 250.
How much? So, wow, you lost 150 pounds.
Over 170.
Dude, that is amazing.
Yeah, I
Good
started
for
off
you.
at 420. And when I do comedy, I talk about that. You know, I get up and I say, you know, I used to 420.
Yeah.
And then I go, oh, man, this whole age thing, you forget words sometimes. I used to weigh 420.
Wow, man.
Yeah. But then the reason I weighed 420 is I got the munchies late afternoon.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
You took it off slow, didn't you?
Yes, I did.
That's probably why you're keeping it off.
Yep.
Yeah,
I've
that's key.
been in the same waist size for 8 years now, I believe.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Good for you.
Thank you. Yeah.
That's great.
And so
That's hard work.
I still, you know, fill out the Santa suit fairly well. Don't need to. I bought one of the bellies to put in.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. I'm about 10 pounds behind you. So I'm about,
Okay.
I weigh in at a healthy heavyweight 240.
There you go.
But I've been told that I carry it well.
You do.
So, yeah.
But you are 6'1", 6'2"?
6'1" on my boots, so I'm going to stick to it. But my son is getting taller than me now.
Well, they
yeah,
upgrade the old man.
in the cowboy boots, I'm 6'1".
Yeah.
The doctor says I'm 6 foot and a quarter inch.
Yeah.
So,
See, when I had my last knee replacement, I got back to just over 6 foot.
Attaboy.
Yeah.
I like it.
It was like, slumping like an old man in a wheelchair and everything.
I work with some people that are like 6'8", and that's why I always think, well, this is what Tom Cruise must feel like.
Yeah.
In Hollywood.
Yeah,
Because
exactly.
everybody in Hollywood's like 6'2", 6'3", and he's, you know, it's not that it matters, but he's
What,
just,
like
you know.
5'9"?
He's 5'7".
5'7".
Yeah.
Wow.
All the Marvel guys are like in the 5'8", except for Hemsworth. He's 6'3". Like, so if he looks like huge, you always think, well, they must be using camera tricks to make him look that tall. No, he's actually that big.
tall.
Yeah. My son and I were watching that the other night. We're like, you know, I don't know, you look at weird things on YouTube and it's like, oh, let's look at the height, like the shortest and tallest actors. And I kind of felt bad because they kind of put Peter Dinklage on the bottom of the list, which isn't really fair.
No.
'Cause he has a condition, but then you have like
incredibly talented.
yeah. Amazing actor. Amazing actor. But then you have like Jason Momoa, who's like 6'4", 6'5", The Rock, 6'5", huge, you know, like John Wayne sized.
Yeah.
John Wayne was a large guy.
That he
big guy.
was.
But yeah.
In fact, he started off as a football player, or was hoping to be.
Boy.
And then went to
You know,
acting. When
was it his real name that maybe prevented him to Marion? Was that his real name?
Marion Morrison?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Marion. Yeah.
I just recall that.
Wasn't he born in Iowa?
Yeah, he was.
I think he was
Yeah.
born in Marion, Iowa. I think that's why they named him Marion.
Probably.
Yeah. I would never call that guy Mary. No.
Now you see here, partner.
That's right.
Yeah.
Oh, geez, you almost like, okay, so you can't, nobody could see this, but
Oh,
Dave,
the
Dave almost
mannerisms?
walked like John Wayne in his chair. It was like he was in the room. That was pretty cool.
Man, he was quite the fella. And, you know, I used to do some impressions. I kind of gotten away from it because somebody once said, how come all the impressions you do are of dead people?
Well, that's got to make you feel good.
Right. But then I also thought of it. Why is it that I do that? It's like there are no John Waynes anymore.
Mm-mm.
You rarely find somebody that has a particular voice that you can really mimic because they shuffle them all through and they're more worried about what they look like than what they sound like. And then, of course, they're going to get dialect coaching for different parts, things along that line. But you just don't have that type of movie star anymore.
I don't think there are movie stars anymore.
True, because there's a million of them to choose from.
Yeah. That's and it's weird because it kind of ties into music too, but streaming.
Yeah.
I think that's the reason there was that huge strike, right? Because nobody's really making any money at it anymore. And music, you know, not a lot of people are making very good money at it anymore.
In fact, one of my favorite memes I've seen in the past couple of years was one that you put out.
Oh, no.
No, the one about you want to support a local artist, buy their merch.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because you get what off of one download?
I think Amazon is still the highest. They're still the record. Apple's in there, but very few people download, but it's like 67 cents on the dollar, which is not bad.
Right.
Okay. But nobody downloads anymore.
True.
So a lot of people like physical media.
I would love to put out vinyl, but I've got kids to feed.
Yeah.
So the kids that are hungry come first before me wanting to put out vinyl. I would love to put Jericho Gap out on vinyl. Phantom Locomotive, not so much, because it would be a double album.
Right.
Because, like I've been told by my favorite producer, Mark Dahm, and I love him, that I am very wordy and I want to put everything out. So that had 14 songs on it. So I don't think that's ever going to happen. But I would love to put Jericho on vinyl. But we have it on CD. We have physical type stuff, and there are people that love that and love to have those things. But what I'm finding, Dave, is people don't even have CD players anymore.
Very rare. I had to go online to get one off Amazon for like $7 or something, just to plug into the computer, because the computers now don't come with the CD.
No, so there's interesting things. I see people doing download cards, and I do some of that through like Bandcamp and some kind of off-brand sites, and they're doing fun things, like they're making USBs look like cassettes.
Neat. Okay.
And I've had some associates and some people email me some stuff like, look at this, isn't this pretty cool? Yeah, it is. But for the most part, I think there's two things that have done it, and I might get hated for saying this, but that's okay. I think anybody can do it now because the technology is affordable, and so when anybody can do it, it almost devalues the how do I say this without coming across like a jerk? I'm just probably just going to be a jerk. Sun Records. You used to have to go in and sing for Sam Phillips, and Sam Phillips either ripped you a new one, or he was like, I think I can work with you. Like with Johnny Cash. Johnny Cash came in with gospel music. Look, man, I'm not interested in selling gospel songs unless you got something good for me. Like, okay, that's how the story goes. Then you got guys like Elvis, born to entertain, right? And great looking.
Yeah.
Okay. And, they're no-brainers, all right? So you assemble this $1 million quartet, or this group of people. And so you have people who, and I think labels do it two different ways. There's we want to make money and we want to do this, and there's the star power. And I think those are the big labels. I think labels like the label I'm on are more about artist development, about songwriting, about what's important to them. How does this make you feel? Putting out something cool, putting it out into the world, which I think is great. And then kind of on the fringes of that first group. And then there's this kind of the group that I would say are the hobbyists, the dabblers. And there's nothing wrong with that. But there are 10,000 songs released a day on Spotify. And so everybody wonders why their stuff doesn't get played, because there's so much out there.
Yeah.
And of that, who am I to say what should or shouldn't be listened to? It's all up to the listener. And right now, the listeners are listening to whoever they listen to. So you have people like Taylor Swift. You have people who my daughter loves and idolizes, and she's a very talented, very beautiful lady. And there are everybody kind of trickles down from that. And then there's the guys that are serious about it, that are working really hard, that are just like, oh my goodness, I got 10,000 plays. This is amazing. Okay. And I would probably put myself on one spectrum of that group, where I'm just really grateful for the people that do tune in.
Right.
And just really grateful for the people that show up to shows, and really grateful for the people that listen to my stuff. And then I think there are just the people that are just out there to put it out into the universe, and that's okay too. But I think there's so much saturation in entertainment in YouTube. People have their own channels. I mean, there's families that are making millions of dollars a month putting on, we're going to go into this gas station, and I'm gonna buy everything blue, and you can buy everything green, and I can buy everything red, and I can buy everything orange. And this is brought to you by the Frito-Lay Company.
Yeah.
And we love hot Cheetos.
Because we're influencers.
Yeah. And my youngest daughter watches all this stuff, and I'm like, These people look at their house, they live in a mansion, and they record themselves every day. And it's scripted, and it amazes me that they make that much money, but they make it through advertising.
Crazy.
So I think that's what's happened to Hollywood. I think that's what's happened to music. And I'm not an expert. So these are just my opinions. I'm not trying to make anybody mad. You want to put out whatever you put out, do it. I'm all for it. But I think that's why, in a sense, it's been devalued. And I think that's why they just don't make... Man, when was the last time you saw a blockbuster movie? Like a movie that you were like a Casablanca.
Yeah.
Okay? Or a Some Like It Hot. Right? Or like a good Redford movie, or a Paul Newman movie, or like the Rat Pack. Like, when was the last time that happened?
True.
Maybe 20 years ago? Maybe 30 years ago?
It's been
around
a while.
like the Tarantino time when like Pulp Fiction, people were really getting to cinema, and it seems like everybody's kind of moving more towards whatever they do. And maybe that's just culture. Maybe that's the way it's supposed to go.
Well, see, I always get a kick out of that when they talk about, record-breaking box office and so forth. It's like, well, yeah, because it costs $20 to go to a movie now.
It does.
Yeah, and so there is a difference. It's kind of like watching, some sports that, well, this person, is leading in three-pointers.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, Pistol Pete Maravich never got to shoot a three-pointer, So, talk about, comparing apples to apples and oranges to oranges. But getting back to my point about that meme that you had was buy their merch, and that, you make so much more off the sale of a T-shirt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's a collective thing. I think I'm always for support who you like, who you love. Okay? Support what's important to you. There are so many artists out there, and I am very tunnel vision, Dave. I don't listen to a lot of other people. And the reason I don't, it's not because I don't care about what they do or I don't wish them well. It's because when I'm writing, if I hear something cool, I want to, what did Nietzsche say? Talent borrows, but genius steals. I want to steal it, okay? I really don't like stealing. I don't think that's cool, okay? But I think that's what everybody does with their influences. And so I don't listen to a lot of music anymore. I'm not out there listening. You probably won't see me at a show. If I'm at a show, it's usually supporting somebody that I love. Okay, so like tomorrow,
or you're playing it.
Yeah, but like tomorrow, like Ben Gertner's playing with Mark at like that gastropub, right? And by the time you hear this, that show's probably over.
True,
so
yeah.
Okay, but
so last night,
but see, those are important people to me, so I would probably show up to that show.
Got it.
You get what I'm saying?
Exactly.
But Ben is doing something so different from what I'm doing, and it's awesome, and he has a completely different audience. He has a completely different sound, and that's what's wonderful about music, right? And so his crowd would probably listen to me and say, no thanks, okay? My crowd would probably say, not my thing, okay? But that's what's cool about art. That's what's cool about music, like you talk about. And so I am just like, hey, if you dig it, and I think I said this on stage, and I'm not trying to like cuss on your show, but if you give a shit, show up. That's it. If you give a shit, show up. If you don't, that's fine too. But I don't think people are showing up as much as they used to, Dave.
No, that they aren't. I don't know if that's just a post-COVID thing.
I don't know. That's really good. That's really,
whether it relates back to all of the availability of everything.
It's all at your fingertips.
Yeah.
I could pull out my phone right now while we're talking and watch a movie.
True.
Could you do that 10, 20 years ago? Maybe 10, but not 20.
Yeah. And if you did it 10 years ago, you were waiting for it to, what do they call it? What it would take so long.
Oh, dial-up.
Well, yeah, dial-up on that, first of all. But then also, if you'd wait for it to load.
Oh.
I remember my first podcast, and I think about the first probably 25 or so, I still had DSL. And I would sit there on Wednesday night to get the Thursday podcast out, and I would start like at 7 and get everything in. Then I'd start to upload it.
Yeah.
And it would get to 99% after about an hour, and then kaboom, go down. So I'd have to do it again.
Oh,
and there
no.
were many nights that it was midnight before I finished it.
That's hard.
Yeah.
That's
but
hard.
now, you know, I upload it. It takes 90 seconds. I haven't even written the intro for it.
No, yeah.
Yeah, it's up there.
Yeah. I think technology is a good thing. I'm not against technology. I'm not against streaming. Here's the thing. I have a family subscription to Spotify.
Mm-hmm.
The happiest I've ever seen my kids is when I got them Spotify for Christmas, and I said that I would buy it for them. And I bought it for all my kids, even my oldest down in Indiana. I said, here's your code. You're all under the family, and they love it. And it's a great platform, and it doesn't drop like satellite drops. It doesn't drop like I used to have Amazon Music. It doesn't drop like that stuff, and it works really well. But everybody loves to hate Spotify because dun dun dun, they don't pay. Well, actually, Spotify does pay, but you have to have such an incredible volume. What was it? They said 40 to 50,000 streams a month to make minimum wage.
Oh, wow.
Okay. So to put that into perspective, Phantom Locomotive has about 80,000 streams all time.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I'm proud of that. I think we've done really well for an obscure band because there's some people that are struggling to get 1,000 plays on one song. Okay? So I am incredibly grateful for the musicians, Jason, Mark, Scott, everybody who has helped out and done the work and made it sound so good, because I know it's all a group effort and it's all a part of that, okay? And I know that something resounded with people, and that's awesome, okay? But kids, if you're listening out there to this and you want to get into music to make money, make sure you have a good trade degree, maybe a college degree, a good paying job that'll actually pay your bills. Because
get something that pays the insurance.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, but make sure there's nothing wrong with working hard and then working on your dream.
Yeah.
But don't put all your eggs into the entertainment basket. Because, I mean, here's the thing. I see a lot of cover acts playing a lot, and I think they work really hard, and they're great entertainment, and I think that there's a little bit of money in that, playing the shows, and I think that's awesome, okay? But as far as, like, writing and recording original music, trying to put it out there and trying to present it to people, it's very difficult. So... how can I say this? Put on your big girl panties and try really hard and just get your thick skin and put it out there in the world, and hopefully somebody loves it.
Exactly.
So, yeah.
And, you know, we've been talking so much about the streaming, et cetera. And, you know, you got your kids for Christmas Spotify. But, you know, what did it look like? Did they get a card or
no, it was just basically, hey kids, I love you, and here's this. And I tell you what, I think my son like broke down into tears. This is the coolest thing. I don't have to listen to commercials anymore. I hate commercials. And, you know,
because I sit around, I look, you know, inside the studio here.
Yeah.
And, you know, that was the first 45 that I ever listened to so much. I've got, you know, the first 8-track that I ever got.
Tom Jones.
Tom Jones. Look at how beat up that thing was.
Dude,
and then Grassroots, Greatest Hits up there. That was the first album I bought with my own money.
You know, I'm a huge Tom Jones fan.
No kidding.
I love Tom Jones.
So do I.
I love him. There's either a love-hate. Well, we brought up Meatloaf before.
Yeah.
I don't like the artist Meatloaf. I'm not a huge fan, okay? But he had his moments.
Yeah.
Okay. But I will say, like Tom Jones, he is a. How did Jason put it? He is my not guilty pleasure. Because Jason, I think, likes Michael McDonald.
Oh. Okay.
And that is like, if Michael McDonald is playing in the car and my wife's in the car, she might bail. She might pull a Big Lebowski and roll on the highway. She might pull a Walter. Oh. Yeah. Briefcase and all.
Minute.
Jump out.
Minute.
Yep. Such a long time ago. Yeah. God, that's he'll never stop getting crap for that. But no, I love Tom Jones.
Yeah.
He was a really good dancer, good entertainer.
Yes, he was.
He still, in his 80s, has killer pipes. He still sings.
Yeah, I catch him like on the Today Show once in a while. He'll have something new, but he's always been popular with me. Because
I love Tom Jones.
That was the first cassette that I ever had.
Yeah.
And we had a cassette player in the family vehicle. And it was one of those that, it came down. It wasn't built in.
Holy cow, man.
You had to get all the wiring done right. Thankfully, my brother's an electrician.
Yeah. He hardwired your cassette player. That's awesome.
And I think we listened to that probably at least 50 times on the way out to Atlantic City and back.
Atlantic City?
Yeah, my dad was heavy into Kiwanis, and it was summer of 1972.
Holy cow.
We just got that vehicle and had the tape deck in it.
Dude.
So we had to have a few tapes, and that was the one that I chose, and I know we played the crap out of it.
Man, why am I hearing Springsteen in the back of my head right now on a road trip in 72 to Atlantic City?
Well, see, and the fun part was my father and I were the only ones in the car up until Philadelphia because my brother was at a music camp.
Oh, wow.
And Mom stuck around, and then when he got finished from music camp, they flew to Philadelphia. So from Rock Rapids, Iowa to Philadelphia, it's just me and my dad.
Yeah.
And we had this old squeaky styrofoam cooler, but we had all the coolest pops.
Yeah,
and
the refreshments.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then it's absolutely one of my favorite memories of my father.
Yeah.
The road trip that he and I had together.
That is awesome.
Yeah. And
did you have a Philly in Philly?
No, we didn't. I know.
Wow.
Yeah, but I
hear
then.
though, and I'm not trying to do it like an unpaid plug, but Mama's Fried Phillies in town
with the cheese whiz.
Okay. Yes.
Yes.
Okay. I had a friend come into town. He said, I want you to take me someplace. I don't want it to be corporate owned.
Right.
Right. Let's go and let's do lunch or do something. So I took him to lunch at Fried Phillies, and he was like, dude, this was like exactly
I know it.
what I needed, but really, really good food.
Oh, yeah, it is.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Like that is so Jen, my wife, has had a Philly in Philly.
Okay.
And she said that is the closest Philly to the Philly. Yeah. The Philly.
The Philly. Oh,
I don't know if that's a technical term.
It was your little Philly.
Your little Philly.
Yeah, but that was just such a great deal because the first night we stopped in Indiana or Michigan City, Indiana. And I was like, how can we have a Michigan City in Indiana? It was right there on the border. We played mini golf that night. And then the following night, we ended up stopping on the western side of Pennsylvania.
And you've seen some of the town names in Pennsylvania?
Oh, yes.
Blue Balls.
Yep.
Orgasm.
Climax, yep.
Horrible.
And Beaver.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, come on, man. Yeah.
But so then that night, this was so cool because it was at one of those double-decker kind of horseshoe-type motels.
Oh, sweet.
And we were on the second, and they had lawn chairs there. And so we had order-in pizza delivery. And
back in 72, that was not...
You did not hear of it very often at all. So this was really cool.
No.
And we both had a beer. Yeah, he had a Pabst or a Falstaff. Actually, that was, and then I had Dad's root beer.
Attaboy.
That was my beer.
That's okay. That's all right.
But before that, there was this lawn area.
Yeah,
and we played catch.
Dude.
Yeah. And then the next morning, as we're going over to Philadelphia, we're way ahead of schedule. He goes, "Let's go to the zoo." It was the first big zoo I ever saw.
How old were you, Dave? You don't mind me
It was
asking?
somewhere between 3rd and 4th grade.
Oh, you were a kid.
Yeah. Absolute.
God, you miss your dad?
Oh, yeah.
God, I miss my dad.
Yeah, I think every day.
Yeah. Do you ever talk to him?
On occasion.
Yeah.
More so when there's a memory that hits.
Yeah.
And I'll say, oh, you're laughing up there, aren't you?
Yeah. Night Moves by Bob Seger, because he used to always listen to Bob Seger.
Really?
He used to listen to Nazareth and Jefferson Airplane and Bob Seger and Elton John. Those are his
they were the go-tos,
but Bob Seger was like the ultimate. And I know there are Bob Seger is like Tom Jones. You either love him or hate him, okay? But every time I hear Night Moves, it's Hi Dad.
Yeah.
Because it was just so much him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, I remember a few years ago when Citibank was out on the north side of town.
Yeah.
And I was driving home. It was the Saturday before Christmas. That was always my dad's favorite day. On that day, he would, just after lunch, say, oh, come on, let's go downtown and get your mother one more thing for Christmas, you know?
Cool.
And so I'm driving home, and there was this light layer of snow from the night before, and the sun was just setting.
Yeah.
And it was just such a sparkling image.
Yeah.
And I said, okay, Dad, gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, those little things are always the fun parts.
Yeah, I haven't been fishing.
Yeah.
Really, I think maybe once or twice just with my kids, but I haven't been fishing since he passed away. It just doesn't hit me the way. But we used to go fishing a lot. But, God, the road trip. Okay, the road trip is like my favorite thing to do with my kids.
Oh, awesome!
Truck stop. You want to do something fun with your kids?
Yeah.
Truck stop. Road trips. Okay, here's the rule: you can eat at the truck stop, you could pee at the truck stop, you can get drinks, whatever it is. Okay, but you can only stop at truck stops.
Okay,
you can't do any restaurants, you can't do anything.
Right.
So your food has to be from the truck stop. Okay, and my kids have their favorites. Okay, we're fans of the coffee cups and we're fans of the Quick Stars. Okay,
the
coffee cups
at Vivian.
Yes.
My absolute favorite of all time.
Yeah, yeah. And here's the cool thing. I've done a lot of signs for them. So, like some really cool stuff. And I actually did a hand-painted sign for them in 97 when I worked in Sioux City still.
Wow.
So I had like one of the last hand-painted billboards I did for the company that I worked for. So it's really, and I have a picture of it somewhere at home. But
awesome.
Really cool. But yeah, truck stops, man. Truck stop road trips are the best.
Yeah, I love that place. That's like my ideal truck stop / convenience store of all time.
When I die, okay, I don't want to go to heaven. I have a suspicion they might send my file to the other place, but let's not. There's still time, folks. I'm told there's still time. Okay, you know where I want to go if there's anywhere to be. You know where I want to be? Wall Drug.
There you go.
I want to haunt the halls of Wall Drug.
Awesome.
That is heaven on earth to me.
Oh, that is
cheap
cool
knickknacks.
Yes.
Tourist trap.
Yep.
Wood statues. Penny arcades.
And you know what I love?
What?
You know, with all the photos they have in that place from all the people that have come through.
Yeah.
And they used that old black, you'd click to make the little label to go on it.
Yes.
And it was embossed.
Little embossed labels.
So here you go. Here's a picture of John Wayne and his.
Yeah. I think my uncle used to use that like on his Smurf collection on his shelves. Series 1, punch, 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 punch.
When I was in college up at Southwest Minnesota State in Marshall.
Yeah.
My car broke down and I needed a ride from somebody, and it was another student that saw me and picked me up.
Yeah.
He had that on everything on his dash. Lighter. Wipers.
I think you're lucky you got out of that situation, Dave.
I'm
pretty sure. Now, I'm just going for broke here, and I'm not. If you're still friends with this person, that's great.
Nope.
I would say that screams body under the porch.
Yes.
I am just saying.
I don't know if we were starting to use the words serial killer yet at that point. But
no, that is
was a thought.
I've seen people eat food in the same way, not like the label thing, but the way that they eat their food.
Oh,
it's
the
calculated.
and so forth.
It's calculated.
Yeah.
And I always think there's a body somewhere in that house that doesn't belong. And I'm not talking about, some old settler that,
Right.
breathed his last. I'm saying an intentional corpse somewhere in the vicinity where that person lives. Is that horrible to even think that way? And you wonder where my lyrics come from, right? How twisted it is. Yes. Yeah. Cold cases. Yeah, I watch this stuff for entertainment. I don't know why. They say that's a psychological, like that's a bad sign if you're entertained by true crime stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, no.
Well, then
that's just kind of the whole.
Like 3/4 of America is then.
I think
I
think we're messed up, Dave. Yeah.
Well, yeah.
I'm not denying it. I'm just saying. But yeah, true crime. I love that stuff. Yeah. I don't know. That's inspired a lot of stuff. Yeah.
You ever written a cold case song?
Gambling Girls and Guns would probably be my full circle cold case.
Yeah.
Okay. There is one that I'm working on, and it's kind of weird. Okay. But imagine this, someone who dies in the Civil War, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And they linger at the place where their loved ones still are alive. And they talk about dying and being able to see this person go on and what goes. And almost like I could haunt this person or be there with them, but I think it would only scare them or affect them in a bad way, so I'll kind of stay here in the distance. So I'm working on something.
Oh, I like it.
Stuff like that.
Yeah.
But that's kind of twisted. Like I had a guy who listens to death metal tell me one time, he said the coolest line you ever wrote was the Golden Gates of Hell.
Yeah.
And he was a death metal guy. And I was just gonna I'll take that. I'll put that in my pocket. Thank you.
When are we thinking about a new album?
I'm writing it.
Mm-hmm.
I wrote it.
Now you're rewriting it?
I kept about half of it.
Okay.
And stuff going on right now I can't really talk about.
Right.
Not fun, but, growing pains. And, I love Jericho Gap. It's probably my favorite thing that I've ever put out.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe next to Plank Road Drag. Those two are up there. Okay. That said, I really want the next one to be, I'm not overthinking it, but I'm thinking, and this is kind of the feedback I've heard, little too mid-tempo. Little too, I think we need a little bit more rock and roll. I think we need a little bit more upbeat. So working on that, and I think there's a couple old favorites I'd like to pull out and revamp.
Yeah.
But other than that, I would like to be back in the studio. Mark is always busy. He works with very talented people.
Mm-hmm.
I know right now, I think they're putting the finishing touches on Colin Donnelly's new album.
Okay.
And I know that they're really anticipating good response with that and working very, very hard on that. And Colin works very hard on his music. So nothing but admiration there for him and how hard he works. And then
he
there's
brought
other
a good
stuff.
bottle of booze here.
And that's great.
Yeah.
He gifted Mark with a gorgeous guitar too, and it was very nice. Should talk to Mark about that. It was a really, really cool thing. And I only saw it from afar, not involved in that or anything like that. So I'm not trying to tell that story, but that would be a good story for Mark. I think Mark has given himself a lot to a lot of people, and he's really put his heart and soul in a lot of objects. And I thought that was actually a very loving, very kind thing that they did for him, and I thought that was very, very sweet.
Yeah, you just have to hit Mark on a Tuesday night to talk to him, because that's when he's not having a beer.
You know what? I mean, here's the thing. I always see him when it's like practice or like in the studio. And here's the thing. I think that when we do rap albums, I don't think Mark wants to see me for a couple months, honestly. I think I get this look in his eyes. You
have an interesting relationship.
I'm an interesting player. Let's just put it that way.
That's true. But
and I will say that I think I think he's good with me. Maybe if I'm like 100 feet away. I don't know. But no, I get that. He gets that look in his eyes, and I think he.
To the chorus.
I think he parties for about 3 months after my albums are done because he knows I won't be there. I've been told that I'm really fun to work with. But, yeah.
That, and of course, he might sneak a little cello into the mix too.
Oh boy, yeah, we gotta keep just kicking that dead horse, don't we?
Yeah, we do.
The dead horse is smiling right now.
Very much so.
That's the corpse under my porch.
There
right
we
now.
go.
A dead horse grin. Yes. No. You know what? Mark has brought so much life and love into my music and into the music of others, and it is an absolute joy and a pleasure to work with him. And he's probably one of the finest, most feeling, most caring human beings I've ever met.
Mm-hmm.
So, and he will welcome you back into his studio even after you've really pissed him off.
Yeah.
Which I'm really grateful for, because I think I've done it a few times. So I'll just say that.
He gave me a number one time, but I don't think he's keeping count.
Yes. Thank you.
All right. Speaking of pleasures, my friend, always great to catch up with you.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, thank you.
I wish there was more that I was doing right now that was relevant. But hey, we got to talk about ground goose and ostrich, and
think of everything that we talked about. We covered a lot.
It was good.
Yep, that it was. It's always a pleasure, man. Appreciate you. Love you.
Thank you,
and
Dave.
You have yourself a great summer ahead.
You too.
And hopefully get some great gigs out there.
I hope so.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And we'll be back to wrap up the Dave Holly Hour in just a moment.
Dr. Perry Langston and Dr. Corey Tooney know excellence is in you. That's why they provide you with excellent care at XO Chiropractic, improving your overall health in spirit, body, mind, and will. Get results the natural way. Arrange a consultation, 605-332-9235 or xochiros.com. Excellent care for excellent people. XO Chiropractic, located at 4309 South Racket Drive in Sioux Falls.
Ladies, when it's time to give your nails some love, get that extra special treatment from Quality Nails on South Minnesota Avenue in Sioux Falls. Manicures and pedicures that look great and make you feel fantastic. Zaya and Tony provide professional care for your hands and feet, whether you just want the basics or an extra special look with added flair. Oh, and guys, it's okay to treat yourself too. Quality Nails. Call for an appointment. 605-334-1463.
Hot? No. Cute? No. Ruggedly handsome? Yes. Once again, here's Dave Holly.
Thanks again to my great guests, Jessica Ashton, to Mike Richards, and Matt D. As always, biggest thank you goes to each of you that listen, download, share, and follow. Getting close to some more milestones. We'll keep you posted. Hey, don't forget to follow Dave Holly Hour on Facebook and Instagram. For all 226 episodes, go online, davehollyhour.com. On that site, we have a search function so you can look up your favorite artists. If they've been on the show before, you'll see what episode it was. You can go back to that and listen anytime to any previous episode. As the Sioux Falls Arts Council says, together we art. As Arts South Dakota says, home is where the art is. As I say, put some art in your heart. Remember, I'm Dave Holly, and for me, every day is a holiday.
The Dave Holly Hour has been brought to you by TJS Ceramic Studio, Serendipity Studio Gallery and Gifts, Chasers Food and Spirits, XL Chiropractic, Quality Nails, Jesse Moffitt Entertainment, and the Sioux Falls Arts Council. If you would like to contribute to the continued success of this podcast, simply buy Dave a cup of coffee. Go to davehollyhour.com and click on the coffee cup icon. Don't forget to stay up to date on the show by following on Instagram and Facebook. The Dave Holly Hour is produced in the Dipsy Doodle Studios by Big D Entertainment.
Thanks for listening.